Hello. Chainsaw Man 100 or chapter 154 just dropped, and we are going to talk about it. Okay, so the chapter starts with Nayuta taking over a couple of people to fight back against the mob. And she asks Fumiko for some assistance. But before that, we kind of learn for the first time, I believe, the name of Denji's high school, which is West High. Not the most original name, but we have a name to the location now. And so Nayuta asks Fumiko for help because, and while she does that, she reveals the limitations to her ability, which is she can only send 3 chain at the same time. And it seems a bit. I'm not sure how true that is because I can almost guarantee she sent like 10 chains at once to Asa when she met her. But regardless, she can apparently only send 3 chains out at once, and those chains are possibly invisible. Or maybe only visible to certain people. Which brings to question how Fumiko was able to dodge it the other chapter. But speaking of Fumiko, she responds to her help by saying no, she's getting out of here. And this kind of stunlocks Nayuta. This baffles her. But Fumiko was being a bit smug here. She, very sarcastically cheers on Nayuta. And Nayuta tries to pull the sympathy card with her pets and family, to which Fumiko responds with, "Aren't they just pets?" Which is the title of the chapter, All Pets. And as you can probably predict, Fumiko's getting a lot of hate from the fans who already don't like her. But I'm gonna go a different direction and defend my girl. I don't think she did anything wrong. Because so alright, take a look from Fumiko's perspective, right? About 8 to 10 hours before all this happened. Or maybe not even that long. Maybe like 2-ish hours. Nayuta just tried to kill her for not really any reason. Very minuscule reason, because she was trying to prevent them from going home, and Nayuta, she didn't like that, so she tried to murder her. And understandably, Fumiko would be a bit, she would feel some kind of way about that. And Denji and Nayuta, they didn't listen to her, like, at all, right? She told them to not go back to their apartment because the church members are camping there. And she also told Denji to not transform because there's going to be a mob of people that are going to attack him. And she was right. There were church members camping at Denji's apartment, and there were people that are attacking him. So she was 120% right about that. And even then, she sent people to Denji's place to protect him. She had like a bunch of her co-workers and friends camping there as well to prepare for the church members. And they all died. So you can understand why she might feel salty about Denji and Nayuta's selfish decisions leading them to die. And plus, how is she going to help Nayuta in the first place? Because she's just a little girl. She can't really do much, She had a gun, We don't even know if she have like contracts with devils. Um, so there's like objectively, her just dipping is like the best thing she can do from a safety perspective. But we also like she was concerned about Denji and Nayuta hurting humans, and even if they were under attack, she still doesn't want them to hurt humans. And from Fumiko's point of view, she can't really protect them without hurting humans herself. So I don't think she's that out of line this chapter. She could have been a bit nicer about how she put things, but she's salty about Nayuta. And there's something else that I'll get to in a bit, but first, we might see a bit of a contradiction between her her statement about wanting to protect Denji and this chapter where she's just like, you should do your best to protect him by yourself, to Nayuta. I love this low res picture of her. It's very, very goofy. But anyways, so is this a contradictory statement that she made? And it's potentially one, but in my best work to defend her, I think it could be a matter of semantics. Because while Nayuta said that she thought Fumiko was a Chainsaw Man fan, Fumiko stated that she's a Denji fan, not Chainsaw Man. So there could be a couple of possibilities. A is that her opinion on Denji kind of melted the past couple chapters as Denji ignored her warnings, advice, and just started attacking human beings. So it could be it could be a matter of that. Or B, she never liked Chainsaw Man in the first place, only Denji. Because when she had her little spiel to Denji, she told him that she initially blamed him for not saving her parents. So it could be that she has an internal subconscious dislike of Chainsaw Man even after all that. And C is probably what I think is the most likely scenario, is that she wants to get rid of Nayuta so she can have Denji to herself. Because right now, Nayuta is like the wall between herself and Denji, right? Because Nayuta was the reason that Denji and Fumiko separated, because Nayuta drove her away. She was being very possessive. She was being, kind of murderous. So, Fumiko, if she wants to have Denji, she would. It's hard for her to coexist with Nayuta currently. So, I think that's like the most likely scenario for her, because for now Denji is going to be like, he's going to be hard to kill, but Nayuta not so much. So I think it's a case of Fumiko being possessive of Denji just as much as Nayuta is being. That's how I see her character arc going for now. Okay, so, but moving on from the Fumiko part of the chapter, Barum, he's still injured. I guess he's purposefully not transforming, and he accuses Nayuta of being a devil, and for some reason the crowd believed him. So the old lady that Nayuta possessed last chapter snitches on her, and the crowd is completely turns on Nayuta. And there's this fun bit where this one guy, he talks about how kids who worship Chainsaw Man eventually, grows chainsaws out of their heads. Um, Another bystander asked him where, to cite his sources, and this guy, he doesn't remember because he fucking made it up. Because it's been about 12 hours since the Chainsaw Man first appearing. So there's no way that he could forget this fast. So this guy, he just want to murder some kids. He doesn't really care about the facts. And that kind of highlights the mob mentality pretty good. But Nayuta possesses this guy and carries Denji out of the premises. And for some reason, the bystanders are just watching him. They can't stop this one guy. And then Denji, or Nayuta, says her farewell to Denji as they run away through the sky, which I thought was pretty cool visual for, and like a cool imagery of her powers. So with Denji gone, Nayuta says that she can kill all the humans she wants, but a panel later, it appears that she doesn't really want to kill humans because she didn't get the adrenaline from the fight like Denji does. And she even says that like games are more fun than killing, so she doesn't really seem to be that devilish. But anyway, she possesses this guy, stabs this guy, and the mob stabs the guy that's being possessed. They don't care about hurting one of their own. And this guy stabs at Nayuta, which grazes her shoulder, and Nayuta counters by kicking him in the balls, which is Denji's family technique. So as Nayuta is being overwhelmed, she again pulls the sympathy card. She's just a little girl, she's just a kid, just a little guy, and then it makes the mob kind of hesitate a bit from what it seems. Which Barem uses this chance to point a gun at her. The gun he presumably picked up from one of the public sector officers, because he didn't have a gun when he was marching towards Nayuta, the other chapter. So it's a new addition to his weaponry. So I don't think he's gonna shoot her, because she is valuable for baiting out Denji. Or if Barem's feeling really sadistic, he could just like kill her in front of Denji to make him suffer and potentially turn into Pochita's true form again, which is what Makima did to Denji by killing Power. So, So Nayuta's probably not going to die in the immediate future. But long term, it's not. I'm not so sure. So, anyways. Another thing is Barem's tactical movements here, because he chose to stay behind injured and go for Nayuta instead of just going for Denji while he's injured. Because Barem he still has movements despite being shot in the head. So him at the stake could probably take out Denji if he really wanted to. But his strategy is to kidnap, or at least hold Nayuta hostage for now. So it's interesting. But that's the end of the chapter. Moving on to editor's notes, comments, which is usually in chapters, in Japanese chapters, you get like an editor's commentary in the beginning and the end of the chapter to usually highlight what's going on, what they want the readers to focus on. And in this case, well, in the English releases, in the official releases, those are removed like entirely. I'm not sure why, but so the beginning of the chapter, the editor's comment is just that they're being surrounded, and the end is that it translates to hate becomes a desire to kill. So I'm not sure like whose hate this is referring to. Maybe it's the mob, maybe it's Barum. So just a cool tidbit to have. Not the deepest commentary, but I think it varies from different editors on what they want to highlight. But there's also the name of the chapter, which is Mina Peto, which officially translates to all pets. And I think that's a good way to translate it, because Mina is like everyone, and Peto is just pet. So it would more accurately be like everyone pet. The translator I used translated to like everyone's a pet. And I guess it could like be a double meaning, as the mob are behaving, they're being very easily manipulated and behaving like pets in a ignorant way. So I could see it having like a double meaning, because Fujimoto sometimes does try that with his chapter titles. It's not everyone's pet, because it would be like Mina no Peto, because no is the possessive term. So I think the translator did a pretty good job kind of condensing the double meaning. And honestly, I think Chainsaw Man's translator is usually like, she does a pretty good job. The only thing I would have a gripe with is sometimes the cursing is like a bit PG compared to, you know how like unofficial translations, the fan translations, they do like a bunch of cursing. They go like 200% with the cursing. Whereas the official translation goes like 20% with the cursing. So it's not the worst, but it's like, I wish, they go a bit more harder on the localization of cursing and stuff. But anyways, that's the end of the chapter. Next chapter comes out in 2 weeks, so another break. And in Japan, the chapter's gonna drop around almost, I think it would be like exactly on Valentine's Day. So maybe there's going to be more romance in the next chapter. For a lot of the Reze fans, it's a possibility. It's a bit of a reach, but not impossible. Or maybe Denji will reunite with Asa. But yeah, that's the end of the me going over the chapter. I'll see you all in a bit.